Good morning, everyone. It is really exciting to have the chance to come before you guys today to talk about our partnership with our sister church in Haiti. We began our, you can be seated. We began our journey with the One Family Church in Haiti many years ago, and we're actually getting ready to move into our 13th year of partnership with them. Way back 14 years ago or so, through prayer, both the missions team and the elders felt led to help spread the gospel around the world, and the team that we put together wound up in Haiti. So, if you can jump to the next slide. The One Family Church in Haiti asked us if we could help to support their children and their school with scholarships and meals as they were struggling to maintain the school and the orphanage there. You go to the next one. There we go. Though we were initially pretty concerned about our ability to support hundreds of school children, because let's face it, not a huge church, the people here really stepped up with a huge percentage of all the people in the church supporting the ministry, and we were able to move forward with feeding over 500 kids a year and feeding them 5 meals a year. If you think about that, that means that we're feeding more and giving a scholarship to more than one child for every member of this church. It's pretty crazy. And over that time, with well over a decade of ministry, we've given over 5,000 scholarships. And can you believe this? We have fed kids in Haiti over 750,000 meals. Now, it would be impossible to overstate how much that meant to this church and to these people. Haiti is in deep distress. Gangs are in control of most of the country, and it's been very difficult for people there. People are starving in Haiti, but in the middle of all of this, we have seen absolutely incredible things. We've seen, jump to the next slide. So one of the things we've seen is the growth of the One Family Church. It was one church when we met them, and this isn't all of them. After we started providing the scholarships and the meals, they felt led to educate other churches. Pastor Kesnell always wanted to have a seminary, and he began working with other pastors throughout Haiti, and over time, One Family has become an entire network of churches. And next slide. We've also seen many church plants. We've seen countless group baptisms, and the equipping of pastors and church leaders throughout Haiti, all of which One Family says they couldn't have done without Westbrook Church. So next slide. So today we're supporting 2 schools, the original one in Quatrevoque and a new church in Soto, which One Family set up when they had to move the children out of Quatrevoque due to gang violence. So the church and the school are still running in Quatrevoque, but the reason is because when some of the people were leaving, Pastor Van El and a young man named Kenzie came forward. He was the administrator there, and Pastor Van El runs the school. And they came forward and they said God had assigned them to the people there in Quatrevoque. So they actually stayed through the violence. Pastor Kesnell has been kidnapped and robbed twice by gangs in the last couple of years. But by the grace of God, he and Kenzie and their families are all safe. So next slide. Yeah. As we've reported through the last few years, the situation in Haiti is really very bad. Gangs run the streets in much of the country. They kidnap residents, and they tax establishments. A recent article from the UN said that the gangs are now heavily armed and are killing civilians, destroying schools and healthcare facilities, and performing mass kidnappings. This month, the UN reported an estimated 2 million Haitians are in dire need of food, with a full half of the population in what they classify as an urgent need of food. Hunger has become such a crisis that a lot of boys are joining gangs just to get something to eat. So think about that, joining a violent gang just because you haven't had anything to eat for days. A little bit hard to imagine. Our last trip to the Dominican Republic, Kenzie, the administrator, wanted to tell us something about that, if you can play the video.
It was just a bad one.
The support Westbrook is planning on giving us.
Ni pa yon aide seulement pour l'école là.
It's about let's say, our support for the school only.
Disons aide pour tout Haïti.
It's a help for the whole Haiti.
Li se yon aide pou tout ti moun ka vive en Haïti.
It's a help for all the children who are living in Haiti.
Parce que aide yak bay la,
The support that they are given
ap permet li mwes gran moun.
will allow to have less gangs in
La,
Haiti.
la permet gen plus ti moun ka l'ekol.
That will allow more children to go to school,
La permet gen plus ti moun ki manje.
allow more children get fed.
Et ça, la vie mentalité ou pour pas intégrer dans des bagages qui négatifs.
So that will really wash their brain not to get involved in any negative things.
So think about that. What they were just saying was that kids in our two schools who know that they can go to school and get an education and know that they will have 5 meals to eat a week, that is actually keeping them from joining the gangs. So we're literally providing them with an alternative to a pretty scary and violent life. So in the pictures here, One Love is one of the orphans that we've seen grow up at One Family. It's been pretty amazing seeing her grow from 2 years old to 16 since we met her, and to see her maintain her outgoing personality, her strong spirit, and love for the Lord with all the things going on in Haiti. You might notice the picture there at the sort of top right, I guess, where she doesn't look quite as happy. Over the last year, they rather surprisingly found a large lump in her breast. And so they took her to a hospital in Haiti, and they performed surgery, but the medical care there is quite bad. And she is actually, surgery's long gone, and she is still experiencing a lot of pain. So please pray for her, because they tried to take her back to the hospital, and as you as we've discussed, some of the hospitals have been shut down due to the gangs. And so the hospital they were able to get to was so overcrowded that they actually saw women giving birth outside the hospital because they couldn't get in. Just to give you a sense of how dire things are there. So please pray for her. They're trying to get her into the Dominican Republic for care, but just a pretty incredible young woman that we've known for a long time, and praying that she will be fully healed. So, next slide. So this year has been a pretty difficult year for the orphans. After moving to Soto and initially finding relief from the gangs, violence actually broke out in Soto. So they kind of moved from closer to the city out into the country, and the gangs just kept emanating out, and when they finally got there, they started fighting for territory there. So they actually moved them out for a bit, but then the violence since died down, and they've returned. So the kids are, the orphans are all currently in Soto. While there are many issues in Haiti, we have to remember to constantly give praise to God that he continues to protect the orphans, the teachers, the pastors, and the staff at One Family. You know, we talk about all of these events, but God's hand is really on these people. You know, he has called a church in Kansas to help take care of them. And I've, like I said, I've seen them kidnapped, I've seen them robbed, I've heard of all these things happening. They're all safe. And it's a pretty amazing thing, almost hard to believe. Pastor Kesnell goes back and forth from the Dominican into Haiti on a regular basis, bringing food and things like that. And the gangs stop people, but he's delivered food hundreds of times, and he's never been stopped. So he's actually driven right past points where gangs were stopping people and just kind of drove on by, and somehow God protected him there. And I know that God has his hand on this church, but beyond that, we are seeing a lot of people come to Christ there. You know, people in tough times like this are stepping away from voodoo, which is rampant in Haiti, and coming to Jesus. And if you think it's one thing to move, from church to church or something like that, but to even from atheism, but coming from voodoo, which is literally devil worship, to worshiping our Lord is an incredible and a powerful thing, and that is happening in Haiti, and we're helping with that. And amongst all of that, as we're seeing these people move, we are seeing One Family equipping church after church. And it's an amazing thing. There are a lot of pastors in Haiti that are not very knowledgeable in the Word, and so they've just been teaching them and training them. They come to churches to arbitrate arguments and things like that, and many times they go to a church, they help them out, and then the church says, "Can we be a One Family church?" And so that's where that network of churches came from. It's a pretty incredible thing. So moving on to next steps. Many families at Westbrook have faithfully supported this ministry for the last 12 plus years. We're supporting more school children than we have members in this church. Over the last year, our support has been about $9,000 a month. This amounts to about $20 a month to send a child to school and to feed them 5 meals a week. So roughly 20 meals and a scholarship for $20 a month. It is pretty incredible what a few dollars can do there. Any one of us can send a child to school for $20 a month. So the next slide. We'd never ask for more than God calls you to do, but please do pray with your families as to whether God would have you continue or begin to participate in this ministry. There are pledge cards in the bulletins, I believe, and this is something that we really need to know if God leads you to support one family, because we actually every year work with the churches, and we look at how much it costs, what the cost is going to be to support the teachers and the school and the meals, and then we look and see if we can do it. And as we had to expand to the 2 schools when the orphans were moved, there have been many, many times when we've questioned whether or not we would simply have to not feed one of the groups of kids or things like that, but God has always come through. But when we make that pledge to them to start the school year, we want to know. So really appreciate it, even if you've been giving for a while, if you can fill out a card. And if you have any questions at all, I and other members of the One Family team would love to talk to you about them. We'd love to come to your small group or any other setting. Always available to talk to anyone that wants to talk about our partnership here. Now in Haitian Creole, thank you is merci. And with that in mind, I had a few people that wanted to say something.
One thing I know, God is still in control.
Amen.
So whatever is going on there, God knows why it, allowed it to be the way it is. We don't know why now. Probably a couple of years later, we'll find out exactly why all that been happening to Haiti. So I don't lose hope. I'm gonna keep up, dealing with my faith, trusting Him, regardless the situation in Haiti. We're still gonna trust Him continually, because I know He's the answer. He's the only answer. So I just wanna thank you for being with us. Thank you for the team there that have been working non-stop in order to support our ministry. So I feel like I don't have enough words really
No, we don't.
to thank you all for all the hard work that you do in order to keep All-in-One family alive.
We love everybody, the church, everybody. Love you guys for doing what you're doing for the children, for the school, for the community, for me personally.
Merci pour l'école. Moi, merci pour support nous.
Merci pour support nous. Merci pour l'église là. Remerciez nous pour manger nous maman. Remerciez nous pour l'école là.
Merci pour support nous.
Remerciez nous pour l'école nous maman. Merci.
So please drop by our table outside after church with any questions you might have, and please do consider coming to the Haitian lunch next week. It's an authentic Haitian lunch prepared by Haitians, and it's free. You don't have to sign up or anything. Just show up, and we'll talk a little more about this ministry. Thank you all so much.